Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're once again back in Warframe to have a look at the changes to mid-slam attacks and how they are going to affect our builds. These changes were added with the Weaver update, and although they sound scary, they aren't really that big of a deal, so don't worry too much about it and let's just go through what has changed. Also, disclaimer, these changes only apply to the actual slam attack and nothing else that spawns from them. So for example, the energy pulses from the Tene Exec or the Sancti won't be affected by these changes and will still deal damage the same way they did before, and this also applies to all the other special heavy slam attacks. The biggest change is that radius and damage now scale with height. This means that the further away you are from the ground, the more damage and the bigger the AoE of that melee attack. So for example, if I just hop and hit my melee heavy attack button or just the slam attack button, the AoE is quite small, but if I instead bullet jump and do it from a very high spot, yeah, the AoE is quite big, and somehow this weapon is making also like a little flashbang. I guess that might be a bug, but yeah, it's definitely not worth just hopping around and spamming anymore unless you just want to kill one enemy. This can work in like alkaline fights or if I want to kill a necromech or stuff like that. But if you instead are going to focus on AoE clearing, you have to bullet jump or at least double jump, because otherwise the AoE is too small to even hit enemies that are like this far away from you. And yeah, that's pretty much the biggest change. Then we have both a fix and a change, and this applies to the Naira set. This set of mods was bugged and was giving you more damage than was supposed to, so now that has been fixed, and there's also been a little bit of a buff to this mod set, because you now deal 150% more damage per mod instead of just 100. And finally we have the last change, and this is just less visual effects on slam attacks, because yeah, they were a bit too much of a clutter, and if someone was just spamming around the mission, just the slam attacks, it was painful and you were not able to see anything around you. But somehow we now have the flashbang, so yeah, just be careful about that and maybe avoid white energy colors. And those are pretty much all the changes, so it's now time for some testing. I made a video about the Sancti Magistar last week, so I'm gonna use this weapon for testing, and we can get an idea on what the damage was before and what it is like now. Spoiler alert, damage is pretty much the same, but you now have to bullet jump, but that's, I mean, that was pretty much the change, so nothing else to expect. And as a little refresh, this is the build on the Sancti Magistar, and these are the in-canon evolutions. You can, of course, change any of the ones you don't like, but for me, this is my go-to build. Alright, we have here our Corrupted Battalion, so these are like just a bunch of enemies from the Corrupted faction, and let's just by actually not doing the high one, let's do the small one. So let's see, that is an enemy. If I just do this, 7 meters, nope. Yeah, it's about 6 meters, maybe something more. But yeah, it's definitely less than it was before, and I am pretty happy about that. Also damage wise, it's only dealing about 30k, so once again not that much. Let's now try from very high up in the air. We are dealing much more damage. There was a 41,000 on the same enemy, and if we now activate the incarnate form, we are back to just deleting these very high level enemies with just slam attacks. And yeah, that's still gonna be a thing with melee slam attacks. And one more thing, if your melee slam attack hits the enemy or very close to where the enemy is standing, you will deal full damage, and it won't calculate any of the high stuff. It will just deal damage based on what the damage is supposed to be. It just does it. And that's pretty good once again, because you can focus acolytes or necromechs or like someone like a heavy gunner and just do the little hop and still deal full damage, which is pretty good. As for everything else, yes, you have to jump very high up if you actually want to deal damage to things that are much further away from you. And yeah, that's pretty much how it is with the Sancti Magister. That was majestic, alright. Now, as I mentioned before, with Tene Exec or weapon that summon energy waves, energy attacks, or any other kind of thing, those are not affected by the actual height of the melee slam attack, and they just deal the same amount of damage, and don't bother about all of that, which is pretty good. So I am assuming we'll see more use of this weapons instead. So Sampotus will still be pretty much god tier. Tene Exec is still quite the good weapon. It's capable of dealing a lot of damage, even to these very high level enemies. And yeah, you can just do a little hop and just let the energy waves deal damage, but of course if you wanna actually hit something with the weapon, you cannot do the little hop. And yeah, that is pretty much what the changes are. I was expecting a bit more dramatic changes, but they are very mild, and you can actually just adapt to the new gameplay, which requires you to bullet jump a bit more, and I guess that's fine. It might become annoying inside small tilesets, but that's why we have weapons like the Exec and Sampotus and all those fancy weapons that actually summon energy attacks. And this time there is no in-mission showcase, because once again these changes aren't that big, and yeah, I think that's gonna be pretty much it for the video. I hope it made what the changes are more clear for you, and if I actually helped you, remember to leave a like, and if you enjoy this type of content, consider subscribing. I wish you a beautiful rest of the day, thanks for watching, and bye bye.